Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video, and in this one we're going to take a look at updates from a few different dexes around Cardano. So I wanted to put out a video about the AXO launch being delayed from today until February 6th, but then I've seen there's a few updates from different dexes, so we'll include all of them in this one. If you have value, please do share it out. Let people know what's going on with dexes building on Cardano. Subscribe for more Cardano content. Leave a comment, it does help with the algo. I do appreciate it. Let's jump into it. Okay, like I said in the intro, the AXO launch has been postponed until February 6th. It was meant to go live today on January 16th, but you can see there is a document here talking about it all. And the main parts are, so it talks here about what happened, the heavy transaction load, some issues with the scripts, configuration issues. I think the important thing to take for people is that there is no funds locked. There is processes. If you still have transactions that are locked or swaps that you can't get back just yet, there are processes to do that. Make sure and reach out in Discord, or I did share some of the stuff on my Twitter the other day that they put out showing how you can get in and pull your funds back out of it. So in this, they go into their response, their fixes, and the future improvements of how they are fixing some of the issues that went wrong with the LSE. They talk a bit more about the LSE down here, and I think it's going to be good for people in the future looking at what way they could do a process like this. So we see here the suck order issue also affected the LSE algorithm, resulting in AXO on certain pairs not being sold. So only 60% of the LSE allocation has been sold. It looks like the other 40% will go back to the treasury. So that means less AXO being available on launch, which, depending on what way you look at it, could be seen as a good thing. And just on the allocation that people would have had from the private sale or the team or also the ISPO, then 20% of that was due to be available on launch. The vesting was set to start today. The vesting does start today. So that means that on February 6th, when it launches, you should be able to get a little bit more than 20% available on launch due to vesting starting today. And that gives us, what, two weeks roughly before the actual launch. So you will have 2 weeks of the vesting done. So you'll get a few extra tokens based on that. Next up, we have Genius Yield. So they have launched Genius Yield Accelerated Yield event. Now I did put out an interview yesterday with Lars and Marvin all about Genius, what happened with the launch, what's coming next, and things in around their bots for market maker bots and for the order matching, which are all open source and anybody can use. We talked a bit about yield farming, but the details have now come out on it. So you can get all the details here. This will be for people that are interacting, putting in orders and doing trades on the Dex. There are going to be yield farming rewards. They will be slightly different than what we have on, we say, Minswap or Sundae or Wingriders or anyone else that has an AMM Dex, where you get provided with yield farming rewards for giving liquidity to the Dex. This some similarities, but this is more for trades actually executed. On Minswap then, Minswap burn has been completed. So we talked about this in previous videos where they had a vote up to burn a certain amount of the Minswap supply. The community voted to burn 40% of the supply, and Minswap Labs have now burned that. So the total supply on chain now for Minswap is down to 3 billion. So 2 billion tokens have been burned. So that isn't from the actual circulating supply, that is from what would have been coming in the future supply for Minswap. I think long term, this is a good thing because there's no point in flooding the market with tokens that aren't needed just to inflate the actual circulating supply, and generally doesn't have a good impact on the price. Next, another vote for Sundae was the initial Sundae V3 fee structure. So the community has voted here that the fee structure for V3 is going to be 0.5 ADA for 3 months, and then I'm not sure which it goes back to. I think it defaults back to the next highest voted, which would be 1 ADA, but I will clarify that in another video. So if we look all the way down here, what this means. So this is for batcher fees. So the base fee is going to be 0.332 ADA and an incremental fee of 0.168. That means the maximum fee for one order will be 0.5 ADA, and the minimum fee, so this is if the Dexs gets really busy, it means the fees will be even cheaper than that for batcher fees. Looking forward to seeing how that comes into play. hopefully longer term we see even more Dexs reducing the batcher fee, because it is off-putting for new people coming into the ecosystem that don't have batcher fees on other networks. They just have transaction fees, and if you're trading a lot, then these batcher fees can add up. But because of the way things work with AMM Dexs on Cardano right now, there is a batcher fee needed, and it does need to pay enough for the back end to have a good solid tech stack for running the batchers to make things as quick as possible. So it's to get the balance of value for the front end users who are trading and covering the costs, and a little bit more for the devs on the back end. Then for Wingriders, when I was looking around, one of the latest things they have is a new portfolio view. Now this is only a test wallet, so I don't have any farming or anything like that in this, but a nice overview if you are over on Wingriders. Then a nice way to view your portfolio and see exactly what's happening on the Dex with your wallet. Here you can add your liquidity. You can see I don't have any liquidity yet or farms, but it's nice to see all of this sitting in one page. I think they had a video here that showed it a bit better. So this was for Dex liquidity. There was another one for the portfolio. I'll maybe show that in a separate video. Next up, Spectrum. So Spectrum network is changing to Splash. So the Spectrum is going to become Spectrum Network, and Splash will be the Dex. As far as I know, Splash will be the Dex to replace Spectrum Finance. I haven't seen any launch dates on that just yet, and the team has been putting out a lot of posts talking about different things that are going to happen and the massive speed increase that we're going to see and efficiency for the Dex. So I am looking forward to seeing how that rolls out, and once we do get a launch date, you can be sure I will talk about it here, maybe catch up with the team at some point in the next few weeks or a few months, depending on launch, along with that too. In terms of votes, Muesliswap and other Dex on Cardano have a vote going on at the minute to transition to a full DAO for Muesliswap. So this would mean that every decision for the Dex would have to go through the DAO. There is a temperature check open for this at the minute. You can see it opened 21 hours ago, 74 votes so far, and it looks like the community, those that have voted so far, are really in favor of transitioning to a DAO. There's lots of advantages to a DAO, and we see other protocols. You see with Minswap, they put a lot of things to the vote for the community to vote on what happens. Sundae had the same. Wingriders have their own governance in place, so it would be good to see Muesliswap following on with that too. Then Vyfi, I was just looking over to see what's going on over there, and one of the posts that caught my eye was the top vaults. So this is different to providing liquidity on Dexs. This is essentially staking some of your assets. So this is single-sided. You can provide some of your assets. Copy, Nume, Oracle, or Charlie 3, and GoKey Finance are the ones that they mention here, and you can see them in the list. They're some of the top ones where you can provide them as single side and basically stake them assets on the platform. They did have a rebrand probably a month ago now at this point. So if you haven't been on the Dex in the last while, go over, check it out and see what you think. And then finally we have Teddyswap, and they haven't posted much in the last while, but the last update was on January 2nd. The claiming yield farming rewards has been stabilized and deployed. Next up was the full rewards dashboard. So if you are providing liquidity there, you should be able to claim your yield farming rewards now. And maybe this is the type of video I can do on a more regular basis. If we look at tap tools here, just to close it out, you can see the protocols that are live right now. It doesn't actually have Genius just yet, and obviously AXO hasn't been fully live yet. So Minswap leading the way by a big margin. Then you have Spectrum, Muesliswap, Wingriders, Vyfi, SundaeSwap, and Teddyswap are the Dexs in terms of volume on Cardano. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you got some value. If you'd like me to see this type of video more regularly, and also diving into other types of protocols, and if there are multiple ones of them, comparing them across the way with different updates, let me know. I'll talk to you soon.